kick it off.
John, what were you thinking after the first 10 minutes?
It was probably a bit longer than that. It was probably about 15 to 20. It was two things. Carlton were playing really well, and we were just a bit off in a number of areas. The contest, they were scoring too easily. There was wasn't much going right for probably the first 15 to 20 minutes. And we thought we'd have to we might have to wait until quarter time before we reset. But the good thing is that probably the last 10 or 12 minutes of that quarter, the first quarter, we started to turn the tide. And so that was really pleasing to be able to not get everything perfect. The opposition were terrific, but then being able to turn the tide the way we were able to in the last 10 minutes was really good. And we were able to shift the momentum back our way a little bit after clearly we didn't have it for that first 15 minutes.
What does it tell you about the kind of maturity and character of the team that they don't have to wait for you to address them a quarter time, but they were able to do things on the fly and pull the game back?
It was probably what I was pleased about the most. It was the ability to be able to do that during the quarter, and that was terrific to see. And then I thought that after that we started to, Brody was terrific. We started to keep their influence out of the contest. We started to get the ball forward, and our front half were able to score, but then we were able to stop them scoring as well and reduce the influence of their good players.
You sort of said there that they were scoring a bit too easily in that opening period.
Yeah.
How did you get the key defenders in particular to nail down on Mackay and Curnow and even De Koning, because they got off the leash a little bit?
Yeah, they did. The first 15, 20 minutes we were a bit concerned. They were certainly controlling the ball in the air. And Mark McVeigh, our defensive coach, and had a chat to a few of them during the quarter and just reset a couple of things that they spoke about during the week. And to their credit, they went back to that and just doubled down on what they'd spoken about and planned to do. And sometimes that happens, and they did it well. They were able to just... that was a combination of starting to win a bit more around the footy too. We're getting well beaten in hard ball gets, and this team's the number one contested team in the comp and number one pressure team, and they've got a lot going for them. So, and they've got some tools, and so we, if we gave them we certainly got to look at what they can do. But it was good to be able to stop the momentum.
And Aaron Francis was able to have a big impact in his second game of the season.
Yeah.
Mackay got those early couple of marks and missed that second goal. It might have changed things a little bit, but... Yeah,
look, it looked early that he was going to have a tough night, but he turned it around really well and really applied himself to it. They've got a couple of gun forwards. They don't get much better than that. To do that's not an easy thing to do when they get their tails up.
You mentioned Grundy and kind of his work at the bouncers. Obviously, I think it was 5 or 6 goals from centre bouncers today, 3 in that sort of stretch in the third quarter.
Yeah.
What excites you most about, I guess, working with this midfield? They're all finding ways to kind of contribute at the moment.
Yeah, it's the mix has been good. It's Brody's made obviously a significant difference. His ability to be able to win it around the ground at ground level, the contest. He's just another big-bodied mid for us around the ground, which is terrific. But I thought his centre bounce stuff and his tap work was really good today, and sort of helped shift the momentum a little bit. But the good thing is that they're a different midfield. We're able to different looks at different times, which is important. They spread the load, and they're all happy to play different roles at different times. So that's been important. Whether Chad goes forward or inside, or Jordan or Isaac, or we've got McInerney. There's a couple of them there that do different jobs. They're all obviously they've got some flexibility, which is important.
I think it was 6 goals between Chad and Isaac in the end tonight. I mean, Chad in particular felt like he had such a damaging game, just finding space and bursting through the middle. Was that one of the, obviously you've seen a lot of good games from Chad, but that felt like one of his really good ones?
Yeah, it was. He was just really damaging. And, he was able to break the lines and get out of traffic so quickly. And he goes from inside to outside really fast. And so that's his ability to be able to do that was significant. We had to win the ball first because we weren't doing that early. We had to win the hard ball gets. And when we were able to sort of wrestle that momentum back, then we're able to get the ball going forward, out of scramble, surge the ball forward. It was pretty slippery conditions. So basic footy was what stood up for us.
It felt like a really key moment in that first quarter when James Jordan creates that turnover to get Will's first goal.
Yeah.
He then goes and kicks his goal. I mean, we've spoken a lot in the last couple of weeks about his role in shutting down players, but what about that ability to kind of create scores as well?
Yeah, so far he's had a real knack of doing that. You know, his primary role is obviously that he changes most weeks. So he's just been adaptable. He's got a great temperament. I've said it before. He's come into our club and into our team, and we can put him in a number of different roles, and he just no worries and goes about his business, does his homework, and importantly goes out and executes. And but he's able to hit the scoreboard the other way as well and give us some. He just has been able to know it's quite a knack to be able to do that. He mightn't get it right every time, but so far he's been pretty good.
We've spoken a few times this year about the crowd numbers, and tonight was the equal third home and away crowd at the MCG. On a special night like tonight, what does this crowd continue to mean for the boys?
I mean, I spoke to Tom Harley afterwards. I think it was they shut the gates at some point, and they had to stick their members around to somewhere else in the crowd to come in, some other seats in the stadium to be able to cater for everyone. And it's just a fantastic feeling for the players to be able to have another big sellout crowd. It's just with the momentum that the crowd give us is huge, and we're so appreciative that they're able to turn up and come along and give us full voice. It's fantastic, really important for us.
And to get that as a result like this on, tonight in Martin round is so important to the Swans. I mean, that might just be just an extra level of special tourism.
Yeah, we saw Mick O'Loughlain on the way out and gave him a bit of a hug on the way through the banner, and you can see he's really emotional about it. And we've got some a great history of some of the very best, and so it means a lot. And we had a bit of a jumper presentation before the game, and Kirky did a great job organising that, and really significant for the footy club and for the competition.
You never want to get too carried away or excited with wins and stuff like that, but are you feeling even a little bbit excited about what this club is starting to do?
You're probably right with the first part, but look, we just go back to what works and what we think works, and that's understanding that the opposition next week, the Western Bulldogs, will have some great strengths, and we need to look at that, and we look at their strengths and try and do something about that, but also play to our strengths and get that balance right. We've got to play next Thursday night in Melbourne, and we've always been about that. It was, what's the next one? What's the next one look like? We'll review this one and move on to the next one next Thursday night, because it'll be at us pretty quickly. We just got to keep working both sides of the ball and at the contest, and keep reinforcing the process. It might sound to everyone on the outside as though he's just playing a straight bat again, but internally that's what we do. We acknowledge what we did well, and there was a few fantastic efforts tonight, but we'll also look at something we can improve, and we'll do that, get back to the process and get back to work on Monday.
It is a 6-day turnaround there. Do you look at the potential possibility of perhaps managing one or two players, like someone like Isaac? Did he get a little bit of a knock there towards the end?
Yeah, he did, but he came back on and was feeling fine. I spoke to him before he came in here. He said, "I just got a little bit of a knock," but he felt fine. So hopefully they're okay. We've got to keep going. We'll try and pick the best team that helps us next week. That's what the focus will be come over the weekend.
Robbie, was an AC joint in the end?
Yeah, an AC joint. So we had to sum him off. He couldn't come back on.
And just on someone who had a lot of important contributions tonight, Joel Longmire, he was big in that second quarter, got a couple of goals, perhaps, and I mean, he's played every game this year. Like, for someone who's been through a lot of injuries, just how important is getting that confidence for someone like him? He created some real contest too. So it wasn't just what he was doing on the scoreboard. He was able to hit the contest hard. I think Wiedering got injured and went off the ground, which would have been hard for them, but he was still creating that contest in our front half, and that's all we want. If we can get some contest from our big fellas in the front half, generally we can hit the scoreboard. So sometimes it doesn't come about with perfect method, but that's okay. And if we're surging the board in a bit slippery conditions and we can hit the scoreboard, terrific.
Well, you just touched on Joel and Marty there, but a lot will be made of the midfield. But those three key tools seem like they had a really sort of impressive performance, like you said, crashing packs and sort of putting the ball down. what did you sort of make of them tonight?
Yeah, I mean, they sort of play a system and rotate around and change their roles up during the course of the game. And if it's helping the team win and helping the team hit the scoreboard, terrific. And that's what they're able to do. They keep moving around and changing their roles during the course of the game. And for young key forwards, they're doing a good job of it. And I think they're enjoying that part. And we're able to spread the goal kickers, which is really important for us. You know, mids, forwards haven't even spread goal kickers. And that's been a strength so far.
We talk about the effort of someone like James Robotham, who I think played 15 tackles tonight. This is obviously something he's delighted with, but just, I'm not saying he goes unnoticed, because he doesn't. You would obviously appreciate what he does every single week. But just a couple of comments about that effort tonight.
Yeah, and I guess that's why he's been top 3 in the club champion the last couple of years, is internally we really value it. And it's hard not to when you have a bloke like that who's so committed and gets after the opposition so consistently. He's got enormous respect inside our 4 walls, and it doesn't matter about any of the outside noise to us. As you know, we keep reinforcing that what we talk about internally is a lot of those efforts, and we shine a light on them and blow them up, and just talk about how good it is and how important it is to our team. And he's certainly recognised internally.
It's been a priority
Couple more lads.
all year, but celebrating the almost the goal assists felt more important tonight, and it's something you guys have done all year.
Yeah, it's been really critical. It's often the blokes up the ground that do the hard work that contribute or cause the goal at the source, and what they do to be able to create that. And it's important to acknowledge it. And their players have been really good at celebrating those moments when sometimes it's right down the other end. You've got to stop a goal and you've got to fight and keep fighting to be able to stop that. But if that on the end of that turns out to be a goal, it's a goal saved and a goal kicked, and the goal saved is just as important as a goal kicked.
Beautiful. Thanks.
Okay.